May 18 is 24 hours of a 365-day calendar set aside for Tamils worldwide to mourn 90,000 of our brethren murdered in the escalation of the 2009 conflict in Mullivaikal. 2020 marks the 11-year anniversary of this date. Sri Lanka's Tamils and our diaspora worldwide are waiting for enumeration, if you can call it that. In a world that's currently gripped with the recent COVID pandemic, the nationalist singular government of Sri Lanka are offered an all-too-easy biochemical weapon where thousands of Tamils will die without a single bullet being fired. The Sri Lankan government has announced malignant plans for the use of Tamil schools in the northeastern province of Sri Lanka to quarantine infected persons in specifically Tamil-dense areas. The use of these facilities used by thousands of healthy and uninfected Tamil students without a second thought calls into question what intentions the Rajapaksa government have behind these diabolical moves. The Rajapaksa government has so far paid no heed to humanitarian aid recommendations regarding quarantine, nor UNHCR's repeated calls for co-sponsorship of reconciliatory resolutions. The Rajapaksa's government's unilateral withdrawal from Resolution 30/1 is a clear rejection of human rights and accountability and displays total disregard for UNHCR member states and the international community. Sri Lanka fails to establish any external investigations into war crimes committed by the Sri Lankan armed forces not only against the LTTE, but tens of thousands of Tamil civilians, with 90,000 casualties from 2009 alone. Rajapaksa ran his entire 2019 election on the proviso that he would protect his armed forces from war crime prosecution to an 85% singular majority voting public. Tamils have had little chance, and the Sirisena 2015 government promised to establish information gathering and judicial mechanisms as agreed with the UNHCR, but consistently failed to deliver on any of its commitments, dragged its feet on implementation, kept seeking from the annual UNHCR sessions more and more time to implement it, and eventually ended up doing nothing. President Rajapaksa's policies are to suppress any dissent and crush demands by the international or domestic community for accountability for crimes against the LTTE, gaslighting the genocide of Elam Tamils by declaring a racially separatist war on terror, militarising Sri Lanka and appointing his own military cronies in key roles in state institutions. This latest withdrawal from Resolution 30/1 is absolutely the last straw. High Commissioner Michelle Bachelet, we need more than your regrets and require decisive action against the Sri Lankan government with external, independent, boots-on-ground investigations into war crimes. This council must follow the example set by the United States in barring war criminals from entering and attending UNHCR sessions, as they have in the past. And finally, UNHCR must withdraw its duty concessions under the EU GSP Plus facility from Sri Lanka on human rights grounds, as it did in 2010 for breach of international contract and repeated, unmitigated gross human rights violations towards Tamils. The repeated complacency and utter indifference the United Nations has displayed towards Sri Lanka's disregard for its policy, Sri Lanka's blatant abuse of human rights, and what is in reality unheard, desperate calls for justice for Sri Lankan Tamils falling on deaf ears yet again can no longer be borne. We have had enough tears and bloodshed to last generations. We will never recover when our murderers walk with impunity and the sovereign international human rights body flatly ignores the cries of our victims and martyrs. Complacency and justice delayed celebrates genocide and perpetuates generations of irreversible trauma.